Right, we're looking at converting between different units like feet, miles and kilometres. Okay, so we probably know that 1 mile is 5280 feet. So how many miles is 38,544 feet? Obviously it's a lot more. Okay, now some of you might know just that we have to divide those two numbers. We wouldn't multiply them, okay, because that would be a huge number. It's probably the distance from here to the moon. So with conversions we only ever multiply or divide by the conversion factor, which is this is 5280. So I'm going to write this. I kind of know already that it's 38,544. Okay, that's how many feet we've got. This is how many feet are in 1 mile. Okay, if I put that in my calculator, I think I get 7.3 miles, and that's the answer. Okay, as long as you realise it's a division problem, is this? Okay, in other words, that's a lot of feet. All right, you want to make that into just a few miles. How do you make something smaller? Well, you divide. If you multiply, you're going to make it even bigger. Okay, you know it's not that many miles. That's a huge amount of number. 5280 times 38,000, huge. Okay, too big. Can't be that many miles. Right, but here's another way of looking at it. Okay, how do I go from feet to miles? Okay, well, we can use what's called unit fractions, and it really is just writing it like this. Okay, I know that 5,280 feet, okay, I'll write the feet, is 1 mile. Okay, it's 1 mile. But I could also write it like this. 1 mile, okay, 1 mile is 5280 feet. Okay, so write that. Okay, not the best writing, but okay, there you go. Okay, so I'm going to use one of those, and there's only those two versions. 5280 feet is 1 mile, or 1 mile is 5280 feet. Okay, so if I were to go from feet to miles, it's like I want to get rid of the word feet. Okay, I want to cancel the word feet and be left with miles. Which means if I've got, think about this, if I've got feet right now, think about this as something over 1, right? Okay, so all these are like fractions, even if I write the miles over 1, okay? They're all like fractions, okay. If I want to cancel the feet right now that's on the top, next to the 38,000, I need feet on the bottom. Which one of these two in the middle looks like it's got feet on the bottom? It's this one, alright? So in other words, I'm not going to use that conversion, because if it was, that means, you know, when I multiply, that's the huge number I don't want. If I multiply it by this, okay, I'm actually going to be dividing by 5280, okay? In other words, 38,544 times by 1 divided by 1 times 5280, okay? So here's the numerators, here's the denominators, think of multiplying fractions, and that will give you this up here, okay? And that's the 7.3. So there we go. I've just converted feet to miles. I'll do something the same below. Okay, I'll come back to that point B on that one. Look at this below. Okay, 4mm hole. But how many inches is that? Okay, now we're given the conversion factor here. Okay, it's 0.03937. Okay, now you're going to multiply by that 0.03937 or divide by it. Okay, so let's have a think about this. I want to go from millimeters to inches. So I need to think about cancelling the word millimetre and just be left with the word inch. So again, if I think of this millimetre as over 1, again I can write that over 1 as well. Okay. The millimetre over 1, I need millimetre on the bottom to cancel that millimetre that's on the top right now next to the 4. Which one of these two has millimetre on the bottom? Looks like this one here. Okay, that one there. So I'm not going to use that. So when I do that multiplication, it looks just like it. 4 times 0.0397 over 1 times 1. So let's clear this up. 4 over 1 times 0.03937 all over 1. Well, that is just, it's still going to be 1, which it doesn't matter. Okay. So calculator, here we go. 4 times 0.03937 equals, okay, so it is 0.0, and it says to the nearest thousandth, so 5. Let's look at the calculator. It's 1574. So the nearest thousandth, which is here, the 7, so remember tenths, hundredths, thousands, that 4 will not change it, it's 0.157. Okay? So that's what it is in inches. It's much less. I mean, millimeters is a really, really small unit. Inches are a bigger unit. Okay, so 4 milliliters is 0.157 inches. Okay, because I chose this conversion. Okay, 0.0397 over 1, not 1 over 0.03937. Okay, let's go back to this here. Let's do some erasing here. It's got a bit of erasing. Okay, so we know it's 7.3 miles right now. Okay, we know it's 7.3 miles based on the question. Okay, so 7.3 miles, how many kilometers is that? Okay, so here we go. I'm going from 7.3 miles. Alright, so write the word miles. And I've got to go to kilometers. Okay, now it's not written on here. Okay, it'll be on the test and things like that. But I know that 1 mile is about 1.6 kilometers. Okay, so in other words, am I going to write it as this? 1 over 1.6. Here's the kilometers. Here's the miles. Okay, or do I 1.6 over 1? This is the kilometers. This is the miles. Okay, now I can see, remember, okay, I've got 7.3 miles, I want to get to kilometers. So I've got the word miles here, I don't want it anymore, I want to get to kilometers. So I need miles on the bottom to cancel this miles on the top that's next to the 7.3. Well then, this is the one I'm choosing. Okay, not choosing that one. Okay, so in other words, it's like saying that miles was cancelled with that miles, so that's what the multiplication is. What's 7.3 times 1.6? Not divide by 1.6, multiply by 1.6. Okay, remember, you only ever divide or multiply. So 7.3 times 1.6 equals 11.68. Okay, so it would be 11.68 kilometers. Okay, and that's the 7.3 miles. Okay, so that's called unit fractions.